To most people, Terrell Smith was just another guy on Facebook, a father, a regular presence in his neighborhood in Mississippi. He posted selfies and he danced in videos, he cracked jokes, and he often shared music. He lived a normal, unremarkable life online and off. But like a lot of people, Terrell had problems beneath the surface. Run-ins with the law, a few conflicts, some tension building behind the scenes. On June 8, 2022, the night before his death, Smith was reportedly involved in a domestic incident. Police had been looking for him, and by the next morning, he'd be dead. On June 9th, Smith opened Facebook and hit live, maybe to clear his name, or maybe just to distract himself. The camera shakes as he walks around outside. It's casual and a quiet moment of basically nothing. But then something happens in the live stream, something very bizarre.
Okay, we got action. We got action.
Dozens of people were watching. Someone was commenting in real time. And most actually thought it might have been fake, until the police arrived. Terrell Smith had been shot multiple times and left for dead. The suspects fled. The livestream kept going. And for several minutes, Facebook kept broadcasting the aftermath. A man's final moments. His murder, and it's still replayable for anyone who didn't scroll fast enough. The video went viral within hours. News stations picked it up, and the neighborhood was stunned. But in a digital world where nothing is sacred, Terrell Smith became content. His death became a clip, another casualty in the growing archive of online violence. Because in the darkest corners of the internet, your life is never really yours. It becomes part of the feed, and when the camera's rolling, there's no undo button. There's a dark corner of Instagram where death isn't mourned. It's filmed, edited, and posted for engagement. Recently, an Instagram account that's disturbing even by today's standards. A self-proclaimed gravedigger from Brazil who spends his days tearing coffins open, exhuming skeletal remains and tossing them into trash heaps, all while filming the process and uploading it with captions. The man behind the account claims this is just his job. In Brazil, exhumation reportedly a routine part of public cemetery maintenance, when families would stop paying rent for grave plots. The bodies removed to make space for someone else. According to commenters familiar with the practice, burials in Brazil, especially in public cemeteries, are often temporary. 2 to 3 years after the burial, the remains are either cremated, relocated, or discarded completely. For many, this is just a shocking glimpse into a world they didn't even know existed. Some defended it as a practical norm in parts of South America, Southeast Asia, and parts of Europe. Others questioned the ethics. Not of the act itself, but putting it on Instagram for clout. And one user would put it best. Would you be okay with your decomposing loved one being posted online for content? And the answer for most is a firm no. And this isn't an isolated case. Instagram, like many platforms, have become a dumping ground for shock content. Algorithms favor what keeps us watching, and for some, the grotesque has become the new viral. Whether it's cultural desensitization or online addiction to morbid curiosity, the lines between respect, tradition, and exploitation are getting blurrier. And in a world where even the dead must pay rent, what happens when your family forgets you, or when the payments stop? You're exhumed, displaced, now possibly turned into viral content. What this account reveals is not just a man digging up bodies, it's a deeper rot in how we treat the dead, and the lengths people will go to for attention. It also shows how culture and social media intersect in strange and often disturbing ways. because maybe in his world, this is normal. But posting it for entertainment, that's something else entirely. In 2011, local news stations were covering a missing persons case in Georgia. A young woman named Lauren Giddens, a law school graduate, had vanished without a trace. Her apartment was undisturbed, her car was still there, and the neighbors were concerned. One of them even agreed to an on-camera review. A quiet, awkward man named Stephen McDaniel. And what happened next would go down as one of the most chilling self-incriminations ever caught on live TV. Stephen McDaniel wasn't just a neighbor. He lived next door to Lauren, the same apartment complex and shared walls. To anyone watching, he seemed harmless, soft-spoken, nerdy even, but somewhat slightly off. He gave the impression of a concerned classmate trying to help, but underneath, he was hiding something horrific. He spoke in past tense, which is odd for someone who still believed Lauren was missing and not dead. During the interview, something happened. The news crew received a live update. The police had discovered her body.
No one has seen her since Saturday. The last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
Did you see her hang out with anyone at the time or anything like that?
No one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything. I've always heard noise outside, but it's just people walking by pretty much.
And she just recently graduated from Mercer?
Yeah, she and I were both JD students. We graduated back in May.
What kind of person was she? What did you see her?
She's as nice as can be. Very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we don't know where she is. The only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. Because we went over, one of her friends had a key, we went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. The door was locked when everyone got here. We just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? We don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? They took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's why we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
Her body was found in a nearby garbage can. And the reporter relays the news casually. And Stephen McDaniel's face tells us everything. In real time, we watch his mask fall off. He stutters. He takes a step back. His breathing quickens. His entire demeanor shifts from helpful neighbor to frozen panic. He clutches his chest, as if he just realized the walls are closing in. And it's all caught on tape. Behind the awkward exterior, Stephen McDaniel was harboring a dark obsession. He'd been stalking Lauren for months, peering into her apartment, reading her emails, and fantasizing about her. And on June 26, 2011, he broke into her apartment, strangled her, and dismembered her body. He scattered the remains across campus and dumped the torso in a trash bin mere feet from where the reporters would later interview him. After his arrest, police uncovered his internet history, and it was disturbing. He visited forums about voyeurism. He had written violent stories, including one eerily similar to Lauren's actual murder. He even posted under an alias online, posing as other people, to ask about disposing of bodies. McDaniel didn't just commit the crime, he documented his obsession in the darkest corners of the web. Stephen eventually confessed. He pleaded guilty to murder and received a life sentence without parole. But that moment on live television where guilt pierced through the cracks of his carefully rehearsed persona, that's what people remember. Sometimes the internet shows us the worst of people. Other times it's a local news broadcast that reveals a true monster. Stephen McDaniel thought he was getting away with it, but his own body betrayed him. On the morning of May 18, 1980, the Earth split right open in Washington state. Mount St. Helens erupted violently, ripping 1,300 feet off its summit and releasing the deadliest volcanic disaster in U.S. history. 57 people were killed, and one man filmed himself in the middle of it all. Dave Crockett is a reporter for KOMO News in Seattle. Curious, ambitious, and always chasing the next story, faster than a jetliner. Buried underneath falling trees and blinded by darkness, he pulled out his camera and started filming. The footage is raw, not news ready, and it was just a man panicking for 6 agonizing hours. A rescue team found him clinging to life near a river. He was burned, dazed, and traumatized, but alive. The footage he kept within the abyss itself. The scariest things on the internet aren't hidden in the dark web. They're sitting right in front of you, on websites anyone can access. And that's what exactly one user claimed in a dark web thread before dropping a link, not to an Onion page, not to a private forum, but to an old archive GeoCities site. The page was titled, Carol's DPE Amputee Plan. And what it contains is one of the strangest, most disturbing personal blogs to ever exist online. It's 2001. The internet is still in its awkward teenage years. Carol, a 21-year-old woman, publishes her detailed, obsessive desire to become a DPE amputee. Not because of any accident, not due to any illness, she just wants to lose both her healthy arms. She repeats phrases over and over again. I'll be just like Rob's ex, and he'll be proud of me. The site reads like a mix between surgical diary and a fetish blog. She talks about an upcoming accident where she'll lose both her hands while helping her fiancé, Rob, with construction work. She knows no doctor will willingly amputate healthy limbs, so she'll have to do it to herself. Stage the perfect accident. Then, just weeks before the supposed incident was supposed to happen, the site goes dark. No more updates, no more posts, and Carol disappears. Was she serious? Did she follow through? And did she actually mutilate herself for love or for fetish? Internet users from early 2000s message boards began speculating. Some thought it was fiction, others said no, it was too detailed, too committed, and it perfectly matches the real behavior of people with body integrity identity disorder, or BIID for short. A rare but very real condition where individuals feel certain body parts are alien and want them removed. Years later, more fragments begin to surface. Archived blog posts under the name Carol were found on another text dump site and had a long, emotionally intense story was uploaded describing her accident. A building collapse where her hands were severed beneath concrete. She describes the pain, the blood, and the euphoria, all written in a cold, calm tone like it was a diary entry. Some users found ties between the names Carol and Rob and real people from New England. people who were alive and seemingly well. Others suggested Terrell may have been a fictional persona created by Rob himself, or perhaps a shared writing fantasy between the two. And then there was a blog found years later, hooklovers.blog post, that also detailed admiration for Doran's number 5 hooks, again fixated on women with amputations. This begs the question of, could this be the same person resurfaced under a new alias? Eventually, people on the internet claim that they have tracked down the real Carol. She's not missing, she's not dead, and she still has both her arms. According to their findings, she's now in her 40s, living quietly as a mom in New England. She gardens, writes poetry, and occasionally posts online. Some believe the amputation fantasy was a product of mental illness or intense fixation, possibly introduced or encouraged by Rob. And the most haunting part was, she never publicly acknowledged any of it. No one truly knows how much of her story was fantasy, or how much was actually planned. And on the surface, this is just an old blog, a relic of early web weirdness. But beneath it lies something deeper. Questions about obsession, identity, autonomy, and how the internet gives spaces to desires the real world rejects. Carol's story is terrifying not because it's bloody or violent, it's terrifying because it's intimate, methodical, possibly even real. I came across a video titled Cursed Video, and I still don't even know what I watched. It's short, only about a minute long, but it sticks with you, like a bad dream you can't describe. The kind of video that doesn't show anything violent, it doesn't even explain anything, it just exists. Somehow, that's worse. The first clip looks like a performance or maybe a fetish video. The person sits still, completely covered in a full bodysuit with an anime-style Kigurumi mask. Their arms are bound, and they don't move, and they don't speak. It's surreal, unsettling, something about the face, the mask, that triggers a deep, primal discomfort. People online traced it back to a forgotten YouTube video now archived. And it turns out this isn't unique. There's a whole niche subculture online centered around Kigurumi mask, not just for cosplay but for something deeper. Some add restraints, and for some, it's a fetish, and for others, it's performance. But when taken out of context and edited in the way the video is, it becomes something else entirely. These kind of videos have no jump scares, no blood, no explanation, but they haunt people more than most horror movies. And why? Because they could be real. Because they leave you with more questions than answers.